The following is a presentation of Talkers TV.
Okay, I don't have to tell you what you already know, and yet I'm going to. That's why we're here. WFAN sports giant Mike Francesa is extremely bullish on radio.
And has long been one of the highest profile media figures in New York.
And let's not forget, ranked by Talkers magazine for the past 2 years in a row in the #1 spot on its heavy 100 of sports talk radio. Trust me, campers, they don't get bigger than that.
He presides over 5.5 hours daily in afternoon drive on the legendary sports station WFAN New York, and is seen coast to coast on TV's Fox Sports channel.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is fabulous in every extreme, Mike Francesa.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It's good to see Brian. I was just sitting here with Brian Kilmeade, a Massapequa guy. I was just talking to Sean Hannity, a Franklin Square guy, and I'm a Long Beach guy. So the Long Island guys are well represented here this morning. I work right down the block here, a couple blocks away, so it's an easy jaunt this morning to come in and say hello. And I was looking through some stuff the last couple of days, and I thought I should wear black the way everybody's talking about radio these days. I mean, it is amazing the amount of negativity, no matter what part of the business that you're in. Now, I've been part of WFAN since 1987. I've actually been in the same job since 1989, same time, same station, kind of boring, same hours, same time, same station since 1989. So it's been a long time. I used to have a partner. I don't know where he went. I lost him somewhere along the way about 19 years. After 19 years, one day I looked up, he was gone. I think he's working. I just haven't been able to find him. I send out notes, everything. He's doing fine, though, on a different part of it. Obviously, it's serious and doing a baseball show. But all you read now is consolidation leads to debt, clusters, which to me is a dirty word, cutbacks. I mean, nobody has a good word for radio anymore. And I'm here to tell you, even though I'm probably a little closer to the finish than I am the start, if I was back when I was pounding on the door to get into WFAN when Jeff Smulyan owned it, and took me 18 interviews to get hired, folks, I would be as bullish on radio and as gung-ho about getting a career and feeding my family in radio now as I was then. I'm just telling you. I'm going to tell you why. I know you don't believe me. I'm telling you. Because all you hear now is that companies, and listen, I work for a big company now, and I fight with them all. You can see it. Some of my executives are in the room. I'm telling you, I haven't talked to them in months, maybe years. You can read about it. It's out there. I'm not going to discuss that today. I'd like to, but I won't. But the point is, yes, it's hard now. It's much more fun, and I'm a big believer, although we have Sean and we have so many people who have done so well and have built brilliant industries and brilliant businesses doing network radio. Mine has always been live and local and immediate, and I've always liked this little small city here as kind of my home turf. I kind of think of it as my own, as a matter of fact, folks. But my point is that, yes, it's changed. It's not going to change back. We know that it's going to be owned most of the time. Most of your stations are going to be owned by people who have a lot of stations, managers who have more than one station to run, salespeople who are involved in more than one kind of programming, all that stuff. It's all true. But it does not change the dynamics of the business. I'm just getting over a cold, so I apologize. The point is, live and local has to go back to that no matter what part of the business you're running, because eventually it's about a guy who has a showroom to sell cars, or a storefront that he wants people to walk into, or a restaurant that he wants people to eat into, and your job is to sell that. and then it works from there. So whether you're talking about a network empire like Sean has, or you're talking about one station where I've been able to control things for a very long time here in New York, either way, it's still the same dynamic. It gets back to the same dynamic. It has to eventually get back to the community and get back to live and local. But it's changed because you now have to deal with the digital aspect of this. Digital is not going away. So digital has to be a partner in all of this. Look what it's done for sports. That's obviously what I do. Digital, and let me tell you this, the owners of the baseball teams, of the football teams, guys you see who really are given credit for being so much smarter than they really are because they fell into this digital thing. They didn't know it was going to happen. They owned some of these teams for many years. They bought them mostly out of vanity because what happens? Some guy gets rich, gets lucky and gets rich, or is born rich and decides, you know what, I own this big business, nobody knows who I am, so I'm going to buy a team so I get some publicity. And somebody finds out who I am, and that's where the Jerry Jones of the world come from. But my point is that they fell into the digital end of this, which is now producing insane amounts of money. If you look at app, I can give you an app where baseball is making over $1 billion on one app. NFL is making billions in digital revenues. So the digital part of the business on the radio side has to be enhanced. There's no way around it. It has to be embraced, but that's the way to success. Because, you know, we talk now about social media, and we all deal with it. If you've been in radio a long time, it's something that has been, at first, an intrusion, and then you got to learn to live with it. And I've had to do that. But think about it. The first real social media was radio. The first real mass social media was radio. Radio is Twitter's father. That's what it is. They are the same relation. As a matter of fact, Facebook's a little harder to apply to radio, but Twitter is the most perfect, and they don't know what to do with Twitter, obviously, as you saw, they booted the guy out last night. So they still don't know what to do with Twitter. They don't know how to monetize it, just like a lot of people in this room haven't figured out how to monetize the digital part of radio and websites. Because if you ever go to somebody and say, explain to me this, the digital part of this, monetize it for me, and they go, duh. I've not got an answer yet. Same thing with Twitter. You hear every day, how do you monetize it? They don't know yet. They have a product they haven't figured out how to monetize. But Twitter is immediate, and it is a nonstop information source. What's radio? Immediate and a nonstop information source. They are the perfect marriage. The guy, and probably not going to be me, because I'm probably not going to put enough time into it, or maybe not smart enough to come up with it, but the guy who marries Twitter and radio is going to make a fortune, because it is the perfect complement. They are the same. They're from the same lineage. They fit perfectly. It's a great way. We use Twitter a lot with our show. My producer is on it the entire show. We use Twitter a lot. We use it to our own devices. I'm not going to tell you why and how, but I'm telling you we do. The point is, you have to, whether you're in management, whether you're in sales, you have to marry what is the live, local, base part of radio where everything starts, whether it's local radio or network, and marry the digital part of this, because that's not going away, and it's going to continue. And now everybody in the world carries a transistor radio. Now, when's the last time you carried a transistor radio? We all do now. We all have one, and everybody has one now. So you have every car that has a radio, and now everybody has a radio in their pocket. It couldn't get any better than that. That's an advancement from where we were 20 years ago, when basically radio was just, you know, in a car, drive time, don't worry about the house. Well, we took care of that with simulcast. Don't worry about anything else. Now, you can touch people everywhere they are, anytime, anywhere. Just hopefully when they're not driving a train. If you're the management part, as I said, you have to embrace that. If you're the talent part, you have a couple of things you have to do now in my mind. Number one, you have to understand that the audience has more information than you have, because they care about a certain subject, they care about a certain team, they care about a certain person, so they can get more information right now than you can about a single subject. So your job is different. It's got to be more to entertain. It's always been to entertain, but now it used to be to inform. Not anymore. It's now about your take. You have to have the right opinion, or an opinion at least that stands out. So you need personality and presence when you perform, and then you have to figure out a way to cut through and be a brand. Because if you're not a brand, you're not going to be that successful. I mean, that's just the way. There's so much out there. There's so much noise out there. There's so many people out there. There are so many more people working now than there were when I started that you have to stand out. If you're not a brand, you wouldn't be up here if you weren't a brand. I'm a brand. Hannity's a brand. If you weren't a brand, you wouldn't be doing this. That's how it works. On top of that, though, you have to understand and figure out how to utilize and monetize and figure out the value, and this is essential going forward, I think, of what you do with the secondary and tertiary applications of your content. What we are in radio is content providers. My content has always been 5.5 hours live every day. Later on, it became, we're going to do the interviews, then we're going to cut them up and send the opening and the interviews to the website. And I'm like, no, don't do that till the show's over. We fought about that for a long time. They did it anyway. But I said, wait a second. What you're doing is wrong. You're bastardizing the product. Instead, they said, no, this is the right way to enhance. Except I said, well, tell me how it's going to make money. Duh. I never got an answer. Figure out the value. You have to, because you're a content provider, but you're not a content provider anymore for just radio or just television. It goes to a podcast. It gets cut up. I'll give you an example. My stuff every day goes from 5.5 hours live on WFAN. It goes to WFAN.com. It goes to CBSLocalSports.com. It goes to PlayIt.com. And then it goes to different places from there. Now, think about that. The other day, I did an interview with Bob Baffert after he won the Triple Crown, the white-haired guy, you know. It went to 9 different places after I did it. So that's not secondary. That's to the 9th degree. You, and I don't get paid for any of those. My misgiving. Now, they're going to tell you I'm getting enough now anyway, which I agree, I am. The point is, though, if I was not and I was starting out, I would want to put a value on every one of those applications. They have to be able to monetize those. If they're not doing their job. And you have to be able, as a broadcaster, be able to put a value on those, because those secondary, tertiary to the 9th degree of content are what you are providing. You are a content provider. You're not just a broadcaster anymore. You're now a content provider. And that and all those different places all are selling it to somebody, or their plan is to sell it to somebody, and you should be getting something for that. That's what's got to be decided. And I think our business, the executives in it, and to a lesser extent the talent, have done a terrible job of monetizing the digital aspects of this. I've never gotten a straight answer in all these years on how we monetize even the website. To now, I gave you all the different places. I didn't even give them all to you. There's more. The point is, if I'm going to produce content and it's going to go 8 places and be sold in 8 different places, I have to share in the pie. If I was going to be here for 30 more years, I'd make sure I shared in the pie. But I'm not going to worry about that now. I'll let you. But that's the future. You are not just a broadcaster anymore or a TV person anymore. You are now a content provider across all these different levels that are going to be there, and more are going to be created, whether it's in podcasts, whether it's all the different ones. Look at all the ones CBS has created, which is my company. Look at all the different ones. They keep creating them every day. They have these other things, these Micamations things of me and these cartoons, which I've never even approved, but they say we own the content, that they get a tremendous amount of hits on. They keep producing them, and all they are my old bits, my old interviews, and my old rants, and there's a lot of rants, my old monologues. You never know when I'm going to go off, folks. Or, the one where they said I fell asleep on my Yankee cohort, Sweeney Murdy, got 1.3 million hits on YouTube, okay, as an example. And I was on Letterman 3 nights in a row, which is a little much, okay? But the point is, this stuff is going to get used, abused, and worn out, and the company has to figure out a way to monetize it accurately, and as talent, You have to be part of that, because that's going to be a big part of your future. It's not just about whatever your hours are on the radio, or even, and I understand the dynamics change when you're talking network versus local. I'm talking mine. Sean can talk his. The point is, it all gets back to the same place. If radio forgets that it all gets back to live and local, and to that guy trying to sell a car in a showroom, or to fill his restaurant, then you know what? They will be wearing black for radio. Thanks for coming out. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.